Hey, this is Deepak here from digitaldeepak.com and welcome to the day 5 of the 100-day digital marketing course. Today I'm going to teach Sandhya on how to go about selecting a niche. So Sandhya, welcome to day 5.
Thank you, Deepak.
Cool. So Sandhya, niche selection is a very important process in building your own personal brand within digital marketing. If you want to start a blog, if you want to start a project, whether you want to do freelancing or coaching in the future, you need to know what niche that you are selecting and how you are positioning yourself in the market, right? So have you thought about if you wanted to do something, what will be the category, and can we like brainstorm a bunch of niche selection, niche ideas, whatever that comes to your mind. Like I will just call it niche ideas, and we will just do a dump of all the possible that niches that you could enter, and then we will look at the advantages in each niche and the disadvantages in each niche, and we will think of creating at least like 3 different niches that we can go forward with, right? So what are you really good at?
I like to be fit.
Okay.
So something related to fitness and yoga.
Okay.
And I like to eat healthy food. So something that's nutrition related. And I like art.
Okay.
Something like DIYs and being creative.
Okay.
And I like to write. So content writing maybe.
All right. So interesting. Can you think of any other categories which you were inclined towards when you were in your childhood, while growing up? What do you get drawn to? If money was not a factor, what would you be working on every day?
Traveling to new places.
Okay.
I like being a travel guide.
Okay. So traveling could be one possible niche.
Yeah. And I like to, unscrew and fix things.
Okay.
So something related to being a mechanic.
Fixing things, DIY. All right. That's it, or anything more?
I like to argue with you.
That I don't think can be a niche, but the art of argument with husbands. That could be a possible
No,
niche.
I think mostly it should be like the art of negotiation. I'll be like,
Okay.
Deepak, tu bartan dhole, and then, I'll maybe, clean your study room.
Okay. So art of negotiation, household.
Yeah.
Could be a possible niche, but we have to look at the market viability of it and the practicality
Right. There's no
of
money
it.
here. There's
Yes.
no money here, guys. Don't do this.
Cool. So what I want to talk about, one more thing is that you have to be a market leader with whatever niche that you choose. So there is this book called 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing by Al Rice and Jack Trout. It's a very small book. One could complete the book within a few hours. I would recommend anyone who is into digital marketing to read Al Rice and Jack Trout books. So in that book, what he talks about is that there is always going to be a market leader or a category leader for each and every category. So if you think about men's razor blades, what is the first brand that comes to mind is probably Gillette.
Gillette.
The second one that comes to my mind right now, I think, even though they are not very famous, is 7 O'Clock. So there is a brand called 7 O'Clock which used to be very well known, probably 10-20 years back. So I remember that from my childhood. But whenever you think of a particular category and who is the best in that category, the brand that comes to the mind first usually gets the maximum advantage. Like think about digital marketing, especially in India, Digital Deepak comes to mind. Think about digital marketing across the world. There are a lot of players, but I limited my geography to India and focused on India because I want to become the number one within my geography at least. Right now, if somebody is trying to get into digital marketing and trying to become the number one, they have to beat me, right? And they can try if they want, but another option would be to become a category leader within a particular category within digital marketing if they want to get into digital marketing. There could be one person who is known as the SEO expert in India for digital marketing, within digital marketing. You can be SEO expert for e-commerce companies. You can be SEO expert for, let's say, fashion brands. It could be any particular category. Within digital marketing, anybody could get a leadership position within a particular category, like content marketing, email marketing, marketing automation. It is not very clear now. So instead of being a me too in a particular category, you have to be the number one, or you have to invent your own category, right? A few more examples that he gives is that, if you think about, let's say, e-commerce store, Amazon comes to mind, right? The all-in-all e-commerce store. If you think about it in India, we have Amazon and Flipkart as two leading brands in the e-commerce space, where you get anything and everything kind of e-commerce. And he also talks about the law of two players.
Yeah.
So every market becomes a two-player market when the market matures a lot, because there will always be one alternative to the primary thing that people expect. Sometimes the market share of the secondary one might be very less. Sometimes it might be pretty decent, but there is always enough room for a second player, but probably not for a third player. So some of the examples that he gives in this book is that there was a cola company called Royal Crown Cola. And they had as much as 10 to 20% market share. I don't remember the exact number, but they had pretty good market share. So you had Coca-Cola, you had Pepsi, and then you had Royal Crown Cola as well. But eventually Royal Crown Cola went out of the market, right? Because people will either prefer Coca-Cola, or as an alternative, they will prefer Pepsi. So there is one alternative that is always needed, because people have a bad experience with a particular brand. Even if the brand does everything right, they need one alternative. If you think of e-commerce stores in India from a similar angle, you have Amazon, you have Flipkart as an alternative, and I would say you had Snapdeal, right? Rather than you have Snapdeal as a third option. Because the last time I checked, I do not know any of my friends or people in my circle who have treated Snapdeal equivalent to Flipkart or Amazon. And I order everything from Amazon, but rarely if something is not available on Amazon, I'm still okay ordering it from Flipkart, because I know that they are a good brand. But I will never go to Snapdeal. Managing one more account, order history, and trying to experience a new thing becomes difficult. So imagine if Snapdeal had to win, maybe based on my experience, is that if Snapdeal had positioned themselves as just like a mobile e-commerce store. So if you want to buy mobiles, Snapdeal is the best. You get the best deals there. They could probably, get a huge discount on acquisition of these raw materials, or the stock, if they are just focusing on mobile phones, and they could have rebranded themselves as a mobile phone e-commerce store. So if you want to buy a mobile phone, you don't buy it from Amazon or Flipkart, you buy it from Snapdeal. And they could optimize the entire site towards mobile phone purchases, comparisons. Then they could start content marketing, get into all the influencer space, and go a little bit niche. And within mobile phone e-commerce category, they would be the market leader.
Yeah. So the narrowing down will help them become the market leader.
Yes, within that particular category, and they are creating their own category. Rather than becoming the third marketplace in, hey, I will sell anything and everything kind of thing, they could become a little bit niche specific. And within that niche, when you are the market leader, what will happen is that the goal is not to capture the market share. The goal is to capture the mind share.
Yeah.
What do people think of when they think of a particular category? So does Digital Deepak come to mind when they think of digital marketing in India? And that is how I started my motorcycle blog also. In 2008, when I started my motorcycle blog, I decided that I will just keep it focused on motorcycles and not blog about both cars and bikes, because most of the other bloggers were blogging about both cars and bikes. And generally, people who are interested in cars will also be interested in bikes. And if you go to Auto Expo, you have bikes and cars both, right? But there were already 3-4 websites which were writing about both cars and bikes. Motorbeam.com, IndianAutosBlog.com. So these were the well-known websites at that time. And I was feeling like, hey, if I also start a automobile blog writing about both cars and bikes, then there won't be much traction. So let's just focus on bikes. So people who want to read about bikes exclusively will follow my blog. And the market is bigger for bikes, even though it's not a very premium market. I just went with bike advice, and I had to sacrifice writing about cars, because that sacrifice was needed for me to become the market leader in bike blogging.
And also it helped you attention, focus your attention better on just one thing.
Yeah, because you are focusing just on bikes, then you can actually do a better job than what these cars and bike people are doing.
Because their attention is diluted.
Yes,
And you are
exactly.
focused just about motorbikes.
Yeah.
Right.
So just like a general doctor can treat anything and everything, but if you want a brain surgeon, you will go to a neurosurgeon. If you want some cardiac related stuff, you will go to a cardiac guy, or bone health guy, chiropractor, or whatever the specialization is. That's where you need to see that, hey, how narrow can I go? But at the same time, you cannot go narrow that the market size is very limited and opportunity is very limited, which we talked about a little bit in the previous videos. So when you look at other companies like, let's say, aircraft companies, you have Boeing and Airbus. You have pretty much nothing else. And if you think about, let's say, mobile operating systems, you had iOS, you have Android operating system, you also had Windows Phone, but Windows eventually went out of the market
Right.
because it was the third option. People will either choose iOS or Android, right? Two options. You have Mac platform and Windows platform. You have Google search engine, Bing. The third one always disappears because people can't remember the third one in a category.
Yeah. I remember one of my friend who bought a nice, very new Windows phone, and then he couldn't find a service center after like 2 years or something.
Yeah.
And then he was struggling with it. So he had to shift again back to Android because
yes.
service centers were available everywhere, and it was much easier for maintenance and all.
Exactly. BlackBerry also went out of the market for the same reason, because the market eventually consolidates into a two-player market, and people who develop apps can't develop apps for 5 different operating systems. They will just develop it for the number one operating system and probably the number 2. Now you see most of the companies will develop apps for iOS App Store and the Android Play Store. That's it. So that is the way that you approach this entire thing in terms of achieving market leadership within a particular category. There is another example I would like to give you to kind of help you understand this concept in a deeper way and probably help you remember. And this is an example that I came up on my own. So who is the first Prime Minister of India? Okay. Jawaharlal Nehru. We are not cutting this out. Okay, so whenever I ask people who is the first Prime Minister of India, they say Jawaharlal Nehru. Immediately. I mean, once I said, at least you remember, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
No. It's okay. In the moment while you are recording, you might not have remembered. But people generally remember who is the first Prime Minister of India.
Tell me about that Neil Armstrong example. Second person, who was the person? Second
Yeah, I will finish this example and then get to that.
Do you want to kick me there also?
No. So when you ask people who is the first Prime Minister of India, people immediately say Jawaharlal Nehru.
Yeah.
If I ask who is the second Prime Minister of India, I think that's Lal Bahadur Shastri. I think I'm 90% sure.
I think
But
there was a lady.
She is the third Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi. But nobody remembers Indira Gandhi as the third Prime Minister of India. They remember her as the first women Prime Minister of India. Right? So the second Prime Minister of India is not as well known as the third Prime Minister of India, because the third Prime Minister of India is number one in a particular category of women Prime Ministers. So people remember only the number one in a particular category, right? So you have to become the number one in a particular category. If you are super confident that you can become number one, then go for it. But rather than trying to be the third player or the fourth player and constantly fighting to get to number one and dying along the way, might as well choose your own category, become number one in it. And then maybe you can take on another niche later with the profits that you make from a particular niche. But you have to think about that. Like, for example, let's say fitness and yoga. We have to research who are all the fitness and yoga people in India. And within yoga, I was speaking to Prashant that day from Alpha Club. And Prashant told me that everybody is teaching yoga, but I am teaching yoga only for digestive issues, because that seems to be the largest issue. 60% of the people who have any kind of motivation to improve their health first wants to fix their digestive, gut health. So he is focusing on yoga for gut health. Right? So eating healthy food, nutrition again is a very, very broad topic. We have to narrow it down.
Yeah.
Arts and crafts, content writing, traveling to new places, fixing things, everything is too broad. It's just too broad for you to go into the market and actually start having any kind of traction inside the market. So that is the way we have to look into it. And now we will try to go over this in a systematic process. So what I would recommend you do that is that you pick one niche which is kind of proven to get some results. And I would say that is content writing, because there is a lot of demand here which is something that I know from my own digital marketing work experience. But within content writing, you can now think of content writing for different industries.
Fintech.
So fintech,
SaaS. Entrepreneurial.
okay, startups,
Yeah, startups. Health and fitness.
okay,
Beauty blogs.
okay. So yeah, this should be enough.
Hmm.
So what we need to do is that we can ideally choose 2 niches for you, because sometimes you have to start with a niche, gain a little bit of work experience in that niche, and then think of going ahead and probably picking the one which is performing very well. So in fact, even picking out 3 niches and doing it at the same time is not an impossible task, because you are going to just throw different things on the wall and see what sticks, right? So that way, when you think about it, I would definitely say that content writing is one niche which you have to focus on for more on the professional angle. And here, I think maybe SaaS companies and fintech companies might be your area of interest, because you are like a finance professional already. You could do content writing for fintech companies, as an employee, or you could do content writing for other companies as a freelancer or as an agency, right? And then you could teach content writing to other people as well, which is to become a mentor. And since content marketing is growing leaps and bounds within the digital marketing circle, this can definitely be a hot niche that you can possibly think of. Here we also need to probably add one more thing, which I think you might be good at, sometimes you might not know, is wedding planning.
Oh, don't even start about
Maybe
it.
you can get an ROI out of all the efforts that you have put in planning our wedding, and you know how difficult it is. And a lot of people, especially brides, I think brides are the target market here. So I could even kind of drill it down to for brides, so that you can exactly talk to the target market. And what happens is that when brides are planning the wedding, it need not be a stressful day for them, right? Your title could be the landing page, sales page title could be something like, make the best day of your life the most memorable one instead of the most stressful one. We take care of everything, from catering, from wedding decor to inviting the guests, and everything end to end. Wedding planning and execution is a possible niche that we have to look into, because people spend a lot of money on weddings, and it's more of a status thing. And when people spend money for status and showing off their status, they spend irrationally a high amount. And you could probably figure out who are the best suppliers for, raw materials and everything, the photographers, videography, a lot of things are there when it comes to wedding planning. And we know how difficult it was to plan our wedding.
Even though we had just 100 people and it was a small wedding, it took a lot of efforts.
And it was a lot of stress on the day of the wedding as well.
Yeah, some things did get messed up.
Yeah, you had to be a little bit lucky for some people to have taken care of a lot of things.
Yes.
But I think there is definitely a big market for that, which we will get back into. So content writing is definitely one niche. The second niche, I would say wedding planning only. I would put it here. And the third one, I could say fitness, right? Traveling might be a little bit later, but right now we are busy making these videos every day, and you are also busy with your, career and setting up your career. So fitness, health and fitness I will put, because both nutrition, fitness, yoga can kind of be clubbed into the same thing. And in that also we need to niche down. Right now we don't have enough information to niche down, because to have enough information, first you need a community. Then you need to start putting out a bunch of content out there to start attracting people, into your niche. And then you work with these people more, you will understand how to refine your niche. For example, initially when I started training people on digital marketing, focusing on freelancers was not a very deliberate strategy. I was teaching people digital marketing, thinking that people will learn digital marketing and get digital marketing jobs. But after seeing that a lot of people who completed my course got freelancing opportunities through the techniques that I taught, then I realized that, hey, a lot of people, almost 80% of them got success via freelancing than anything else. And that became a very important niche for me. And now I am creating a lot of resources for freelancers educational resources, platforms, everything is in the plan. Because once you have a community, you sell a product and you see who is using the product, then you will discover sub niches within those niches, and then you can become a category leader within that niche, or you can serve multiple people at the same time also. So unless you focus and go narrow, you cannot have success initially and you cannot have that traction. This is just like if you have played with a magnifying lens when you were a kid, that if you put the magnifying lens on top of a paper, the paper will not burn. You need to adjust the magnifying lens to a particular height where the entire sun's rays focuses on like a single point and the paper burns.
Oh yeah, I remember doing something like that and messing up, and there was some fire in a corner of the house and getting backed by my mom.
Yeah. So unless you kind of like focus all your energy on one thing, that one thing will not get traction. Maybe you can focus on multiple things in the future, but just get started with one thing and start having traction before you hit a saturation point in that particular area. Right? So right now, people who are learning digital marketing not only become freelancers, but they also become mentors and coaches and do a bunch of other things. And in the future, when we focus more on certain niches, maybe freelancing is where we might go deep into freelancing and agency. Right? So those things are still under works. But this is the overall idea, and we can kind of talk about action steps, or we can talk about next action steps, which is something that we will do in the next upcoming videos, is that we need to register a domain name, and domain name can be, let's say, personal website. We need to create a personal website for you. So what happens is that apart from focusing on particular niches and putting yourself out there, I also recommend putting yourself out there as a generic, personal brand. Digital Deepak is a personal brand. Out of Digital Deepak, there are multiple things arising. You have content like this 100-day digital marketing course. You have digitaldeepak.com blog. You have a book that is coming out right now, which is called Deep Marketing. We have Pixel Track as an agency, Alpha Club as a mastermind program, Learn Today as a possible platform in the future for digital marketing, learning, or something like that. So, but everything is originating from Digital Deepak as a personal brand. And your Twitter, Instagram, and social profiles, LinkedIn, and everything is going to be connected to your personal brand, right? So if you do a TEDx talk, then that would be connected to your personal brand, no matter what you do in terms of your nichifying. And tomorrow you could like expand into other niches as well. So having a personal website and a personal brand built, in fact, I would call it personal branding itself. And within personal branding, you will have your, hero page or website, which we talked about in the previous video, where we looked at Tony Robbins' website and a bunch of other things. And before I go forward, one more example I want to give is Elon Musk, right? So Elon Musk is a personal brand, but he has a car company, he has a rocket company, he has a tunnel boring company, and then he has Neuralink and everything. So he's entering multiple niches. At some point you will be able to. And even to experiment with multiple niches, you need like a small community to start with. That community might be inspired by you and be following you, not just on that particular niche, but a little bit of life stuff as well. And it gives you a platform to kind of experiment with other niches possibly that you might launch in the future.
Right, yeah.
Because you never stick to one niche, right? Like I started with a motorcycle blog and now I'm into digital marketing. Tomorrow I might get into another niche, maybe relationships and dating. Maybe not. Let's see. Depends on, how the next 5 years goes. All right.
No comments.
No comments. Okay. So personal branding, then you have your social handles. Social handles, the important ones are LinkedIn, Instagram, and then you have Twitter and Facebook. I don't think anything else is necessary right now. Then you will have a personal blog. So the personal blog can be a subdomain in your main hero page or website, or it can be a separate folder, or it can be a separate domain name also, where you can like even write about some random thoughts that you are having, maybe about travel. You traveled somewhere, you liked it, you put it on your personal blog, see if it gets traction among your audience. If that gets a lot of traction, maybe starting a travel blog in the future can be a possibility. So having your personal brand strong, hero page, website, social handles, personal blog, and an email newsletter for your personal blog, right? So this is going to be generic, and it's also unique in a way that you are unique. There is no other person like you in the world, right? So recently we did the meetup where one person asked me that, hey, there are different people who are providing mastermind programs in the country. What is different in your mastermind program? And I told that in my mastermind program, you get me as the mentor, which you will not get in any other mastermind, because nobody can be me, right? People who are like consuming my content, like, some people might be watching this content right now, people who like my teaching style, like my perspectives and my advice, would want to learn from me, and that itself creates like something called a personal monopoly, right?
Yeah.
If you have your own true fans, and there is this thing called 1,000 true fans, that if you have 1,000 fans and each person is paying you, let's say, $1,000 a year, right, for one product or the other, it could be your mastermind program, or it could be your content, ebooks, courses, or anything of that sort. On average, if one person is giving you $1,000 a year in average revenue for the content you create, and if you have 1,000 true fans, you are making $1 million a year in income, right? And if one person gives you $100 on average, making $100,000 a year is still a lot of money. Right? That's like, per year right now it's like 81 lakhs. And who makes 81 lakhs a year? In India, even if you get a job for 20-30 lakhs a year, people would actually consider you very successful. So that way you are going to build your personal monopoly and creating like a platform for you as a person.
So the
definitely
email
needs to be there.
newsletters here, email newsletters here will have what will you be?
So basically I will tell you a way to kind of combine your personal blog and the email newsletter, which is something that I do with the Ghost blogging platform. And for your personal branding website, we will start with Ghost. And whenever you publish a new blog, people who are subscribed to your blog automatically get that blog post as a newsletter email.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think you should mention that somewhere so that the audience can get to know what platform you use.
Yeah. So we will actually set up these platforms in the future lessons and set up Ghost from scratch and show step by step how to set up from domain names and everything.
It's called Ghost.
Yeah, it's called Ghost. It's ghost.org.
Okay.
So personal branding, an online presence, we will cover all that. So to create your hero page or website, we need to register a domain name on your personal name, which is generic and kind of encompasses everything that you do in the future. And we could come up with a handle which is kind of similar to your domain name, and the social handles can also be similar to that. Whether we are putting the personal blog inside this particular website or not is something that we will decide in the next lesson. And email newsletter kind of gets integrated in your personal blog, so that should not be an issue. So this is something that is kind of like an expansion of your, let's say, Instagram account.
Yeah.
Right? You are not just posting content on Instagram because there is no textual content on Instagram. LinkedIn is too professional. So how about bringing everything into the same website? And people could contact you, and if people are searching for your name, then ideally the website should come up, right?
Nice, yeah.
So we can SEO optimize it, and we can put like a contact us page there. If somebody wants to contact you, instead of landing on your LinkedIn profile, they will land on your personal/professional website. So within the content writing niche, we need a blog where you are writing about content writing or writing about content marketing, I would say. In fact, I would rewrite this as content marketing, because people don't need written content. What people need is traffic from the content, and the content should eventually help them with content marketing. That's what people need.
Yeah.
So you need a blog where you are writing about content marketing. Your freelancing, page could be a personal name, or ideally, rather than going to the market as a freelancer, I would recommend that you go to the market as an agency, right? So we need an agency website and branding. We need to choose a name for that and come up with a brand for the agency. Some of the ideas that we already have, we will discuss in the next lesson. And within the agency website, on the homepage will be the agency website with client testimonials, team, what you do, client logos, etc. So this could be an agency website, and the blog could possibly be inside the agency website itself, but in the blog it's very clearly identified that you are the one who is writing the blog. So there is an about section and everything. So I would kind of like remove the freelancing page, because your personal branded website itself becomes the page where people can hire you if they want to hire you as a freelancer. Positioning yourself as an agency is a better idea, because people respect agencies more. They pay more for the agency, that even if you're operating as a freelancer initially, but you have some other freelancers working for you for design or for content or something like that, and if you're outsourcing it to them, then you can put like a team section where you can put the pictures of all these people who are working along with you, and that would look a lot more professional than just reaching out to the market just as a freelancer or a consultant.
Exactly.
Right. So here, apart from the domain name that we have to select, you have contact us page, you have let's say hire me page, right? People would like to hire you. So this is one thing. And then one more niche we can select out of this. I feel fitness and yoga is too competitive. Again, arts and crafts, we don't know about the market viability that much. Traveling, we are not traveling that much nowadays, so maybe we'll start that in the future. And these two were like kind of fun thing. I think wedding planning is possibly another niche that we could target. So here we need to come up with a domain name, and we could start a blog here, and we could start publishing something related to wedding planning and start doing a little bit of market research here. So don't be overwhelmed that you possibly have to do all the three at the same time. I will help you with this, and maybe sometimes my team members will also help you with website setup, blogging, keyword research and stuff like that. But considering that we need to give enough examples for the people watching this particular course also, I would probably put extra efforts from my side to create 3 online presence. One is your own personal name and your own personal blog, which kind of acts as a multi-niche blog where you are the person and you are the monopoly. The 2 niches that we are planning, one related to your passion and possibly having a good market opportunity, is wedding planning, and content marketing and content writing to some extent is already a little bit proven. So we will start focusing on that as well. And with all this, we are also going to make money, that either you reach out to clients, start getting projects, or tomorrow you create like mentoring in one particular niche. That will take time to become a mentor, that you need to gain experience first in something before you can become a mentor for that. For example, within the content marketing niche, apart from having an agency, you could start a mentoring business as well, where you are teaching other people how to write content.
And become, I like teaching.
And they can become content writing freelancers, or they could start their own agency, but you will be capable and in a position to mentor other people only if you have done it yourself. Right?
Exactly.
And a lot of people end up teaching some people without doing it themselves, and that is like a very wrong way to approach it. So that way we will look into all these 3 niches and start with domain registration, website building and all that. For your personal brand website, I would do it on Ghost. For content marketing niche, we could do it on WordPress, or for wedding planning, we can do it on WordPress. I'm kind of giving both the options for the audience to choose either Ghost or WordPress. WordPress is cheaper, but it's a little bit more technical and clunky to work with. Ghost is kind of coming as a premium solution, but it's very easy to manage a blog on Ghost. And right now my blog digitaldeepak.com and Winner Take All both are on the Ghost platform, which we will talk about in the next lesson. And any other thoughts and questions when it comes to niche selection? Do you think that this looks like a good way to approach?
I think for you, I would say that something like cold water dip that you do every day.
Yeah.
My God, I don't know how you do it, but then you can maybe start teaching people about cold water dip and the advantages and how you go swimming in cold water early in the morning.
So I think along with we setting up this 100-day digital marketing course for you, where we are setting up your blog, your website, your niche and everything, I might also start something on the side. If I have to start something, I would definitely want to restart my motorcycle blog. So for that, I'm going to come up with a new brand. So that is something that I will do. And maybe I will start blogging about health and fitness, and where I talk about this health and fitness for, let's say, startup entrepreneurs. That will be my niche. as an entrepreneur, if you have to have a lot of mental toughness and you have to keep yourself motivated and also healthy to get insane levels of productive work done day in and day out. I think that is like a huge challenge which I have been working on, and teaching people on that particular challenge will also force me to learn more about it. So it will help me with my whole entrepreneurship journey. So let's add that as well. So for Digital Deepak, the three niches, one is obviously digital marketing, which is what I do right now. But the other one is motorcycling, or I will just call it biking. So for this, the brand is going to be Biker Boy. So that is something I could get started from scratch, which is going to be an extremely passion oriented project. I could become a passionpreneur. And I could do health and fitness, right?
Yeah.
So health and fitness, but yes, we
For
will refine down the
startup
niche.
entrepreneurs.
Yeah, health and fitness. I would call it for alphas, right? So yeah, that's is probably something that I would do along with you in this 100-day course and show people about the results of it and everything. So that brings us to the end of the day 5 of the 100-day digital marketing course, which is niche selection. And I hope you learned a little bit today, and you can start thinking about it in the next few days before we actually get into selecting a domain and starting to set up our online assets. So yeah, that's that. So thanks a lot, Sandhya, for participating in day 5.
Thank you so much.
And bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.